Hello everyone and welcome to another Python tutorial. Today we'll be creating a password manager using Python. So let's get started. First, let's actually explain what we want our password manager to do. First, we want our password manager to generate a 13 character string of mixture of alphabets, numbers and symbols. So yeah, that's basically what we want it to do. Then we also want it to ask us if we want to save the password to our project under a particular name so that it will be easy to find again, and then it save it in a JSON file for us, and then we can come back and still make use of it when we want to do. So yeah, so let's begin. So first we want to import a module called random. So this will help us to randomly generate some values. So as I'm going through the program, you learn what you can use, you learn how you can use these modules in your own particular project. And yeah, so now first of all I want to import random, then I want to import a module called JSON. This will help us to upload our files to a JSON document. And those of you that don't know what JSON stands for, this stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So yeah, then we also want to import a module called string or strings. Oh no, string. Okay, cool. So once done that, now we need to also import a module help us to write text into the JSON file. Sorry. So now from path this module import paths. Cool. So now these are the main I explain these are the main modules you're going to need for this particular project. So let's begin. First of all, I want to create a function called gen password, which will help us to generate our password for us. So now let's start. So I'm going to call the gen password. Again, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So now this gen password, now what's going to do is that it's going to randomly generate four alphabets, four digits, four symbols. And when we're talking about alphabets, we're talking about both uppercase and lowercase. So we'll create a code for that and then join all of them together and also randomly just scramble them together and then give us a code or a password. Yeah. So before we get to that, let's first create a constant over here. I'm going to call it password length. So I don't know how long passwords are supposed to be, but we're just going to say we're just going to make it just like 13. I'm going to give it a value of 13. Sorry. So cool. That's going to be equals to 13. Sorry. So yeah, that's going to be equals to 13. I'm going to put this here. Cool. So now I want to randomly generate uppercase letters. So I'm going to make a variable and call it gen upper. And then so now we want to randomly generate 4 digits from not 4 digits, 4 characters from the gen upper, and we cannot write like the whole alphabet inside like our program. So there's an easy way to do that, and that's with our string module. So we're just going to come here and we're going to actually randomly going to generate that. So random dot choices, this will help us choose more than one character or one argument. So yeah, random dot choices. Then here we're just going to pass in string dot uppercase. As you can see, this has other functions called ASCII letters, ASCII lowercase and ASCII uppercase, digits, hex digits, all of those. So yeah, so I'm just going to put here ASCII uppercase, and then it's going to generate any random is going to randomly choose between any uppercase alphabet in the alphabet. Yeah, but then we want it to give us 4 alphabets. We want it to randomly pick 4 alphabets from there. So we're just going to give a comma here, and we're just going to put K, which I'm guessing stands for key, and then it's going to be equals to 4. Cool. So then we're just going to copy this again and paste it 4 times. Sorry. Okay, cool. So here I'm just going to change this from gen upper to gen lower. Then here we're just going to change this from uppercase to lowercase. Cool. And then here from gen upper to gen digits. Cool. So here we're just going to put in ASCII. Instead of rather putting ASCII slash digits, we can just put digits. Yeah. Then strings doesn't really have a particular function for symbols, so we're just going to make our own symbols here. And since it's a password, so we definitely have to do that. So just remove this, and then here we're just going to put in an amount, any symbols you have. So I'm just going to put some cool symbols here, and yeah, so I think this okay. Sorry, don't forget to put your comma. And then now we've finally generated everything. We've generated the upper, lower digits, and also our symbols. Sorry, remember to change this to symbols. Cool. So now what's left to do is to join everything together and randomly pick 13 character out of it. Sorry about this. This is supposed to be length, not length. Okay, let's go. So now here I'm just going to create another variable and call it password. And password is going to be equals to we're just going to concatenate everything together. So we're just going to be random. Don't forget, we're also randomly choosing between the 4 letters or 4 numbers or symbols that the our variables generated. Then we're going to randomly choose 13 characters out of them. So yeah, so random dot choices. Then here we're just going to put in all our variables, so gen digits. Then we're going to concatenate all of them together. So yeah, I'm just going to come here. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so cool. So gen digits, I want to concatenate gen digits with gen lower with gen symbols, and also with gen upper. Cool. So then we also want the key. We want it to randomly generate 13 characters, so that's going to our key is going to be equal to our password length. So just going to pass that there. Cool. So now I'm just going to print this out so that you guys will see what's actually happening here. Let me close this. Sorry. So I'm just going to print this out. Then here we're just going to pass in password. And now let's call our function gen password, and then let's run our program. So don't forget to save. And if you run it, as you can see, it's giving us an array of random symbols, numbers, letters, uppercase and lowercase, and all of that. So yeah, our gen password function is working properly. But then As you can see, it's giving us in kind of an array form, and we don't actually want that. We want it to be joined. So yeah, let's fix that. So I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to make a variable and call that sorted. Oh, sorry, not sorted. Let's call it joined. So like joined val, which stands for joint value. Joint val is going to be equals to joint val, which is going to be equals to. I'm just going to put an empty string here. Dot join. Then here we're just going to pass in our password variable. Yeah, so that's cool. Let's run it again and let's see what happens. And if you run it, it's not returning anything. Okay, yeah, that's because we did not print our joint val. So let's print that. Cool. So let's run it again. As you can see, it's joining all the values together and giving us a very nice password mixture of numbers, letters, symbols. So yeah, our generate password function is working properly. So now is to configure how to save the password. So yeah, so for those of you that don't really know how to do this, we're just going to be saving the password into a JSON file. For those of you that don't know what JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So yeah, also we're going to be writing this text into the JavaScript file in an array format. Hopefully, as we're going through the function, as we're creating the function, you understand it more. So just clear this, and then here we're just going to be like define save password. Cool. I'm going to put parentheses here. So here we're just going to pass in two parameters, which is the name of the password, like the name the password is going to be saved under, and then the actual password that we want to save to the program. Okay, so cool. So before we do that, we're going to just come here and then we're going to create a JSON file and we're going to call it passwords.json. Cool. So this is where we're going to save the file first. So okay, so now in order for us to save things into a JSON file, we need to write them there, and then Python has this module called paths which we can use to both read files and also write files. But then we can't just write a file into the password or into like any other. We can't just write text or any data into any file, because what's going to happen is that if there's already something saved inside that file, it's going to delete it again and then delete everything there and just save that one thing you want to save there. So we need to fix that. In order for us to fix that, first of all, we need to read what is already saved there, and then we're going to put it inside. We're going to save all the data inside the variable. Then when we want to write a new password when we want to save a new password to the program, it's going to read everything there, and then we'll write everything back to the password.json file. Hopefully you understand this. If you don't worry, the project is going to be in link down in the description where you can get it. And yeah, so first of all, let's figure out how to read a file first. So here I'm just going to come here and put like a file, let's say hello world. Cool. So now here we're just going to read it. In order for us to read it, just need to let's create a variable and call it current saves. Cool. So now current saves is going to be equals to paths, and in here we're going to pass in the name of our JSON file, or the name of our file, which is passwords.json. Then here we're just going to read whatever is inside, so just read text. Cool. So now after that, let's just print whatever is saved there. So yeah, okay, cool. So now let's call our function save password, and don't forget here we had two variables, so I'm just going to call this just put like random text here, name, and then like password. Yeah, just so that we don't run into any errors. But then it's not going to write whatever it writes here now, because we have not created a code for that. So yeah, I'm just want to show you how we can read text from a file. So cool. So now let's run the program and see what happens. And as you can see, it's giving us what we saved there, which is this hello world. And then yeah, so our program is working well. And if you want to learn more of this, also don't forget to subscribe so that you get more of this type of content. Cool. So yeah, so now that's how to read text from a file, not only JSON files but text files, all of that. So yeah, this how to read text from that. Cool. So now I'm just going to remove, we can leave it for now, but now let's configure how we're going to write everything back into the password.json file with a new save. So yeah, so I'm just going to make a new variable. Let's call this user data. So our user data is going to be equals to an array. So yeah, so here we're just going to pass in our current saves as the first this, and then don't forget your comma. And here one now we're going to make use of these variables, which is this name and password, or parameters rather. So just make an array. So just do it like this. Okay, so yeah, so our password is going to be saved under in a dictionary format, which is going to be saved under a name, and I have my reasons why. Imagine if you generated a password and you save it to the program, and then you want to still make use of that password, but you can't kind of remember the password. That's why you probably saved it to the program. So you want to save it under a particular name so that you remember that yeah, this is the particular password for this particular thing I was doing, or particular website I was signing into. So yeah, so that's what we have to do. Then we're just going to go user data. Sorry, actually I want to make it JSON. JSON dot dumps. We're going to dump all the data into a JSON format. Yeah, I'm just going to put user data. Sorry. Cool. So just put this in a variable. I'm just going to call it I'm not going to call it JSON, so let me just call it save. Cool. So yeah, now yeah, our program is good. So now I want to write back every single thing back into our password.json file, and that is very easy. What we have to do is just say call our path function again, and then here we're just going to put in our file, the name of our file, and then we're just going to read the text. Sorry, not read, rather we're just going to write the text back to the file. So just put in write. Cool. So yeah, so now let's run this program and see what happens. So I'm just going to leave this here so that you guys should know if it's reading it and then saving it back to the file. So cool. So now let's save and run our program, and we have an error. Write text reason. Okay, sorry guys, we forgot to pass in our save variable here, which is containing all the data we need to do and we need to write to our file. Okay, sorry guys. Save, run it again, and as you can see we have no errors, so hopefully it saved what we need to save. And then as you can see, it saved it for us under X plus, and the password is this. So yeah, our program is working very well. Well, if you check this very well, it's giving us a very junky text over here, which this hello world, because we don't really need this backslash we don't really need it, and then I don't know why it's giving us. And for some of you might think that, yeah, it's just leave it, it's okay, or you can just leave it like that, it's not going to mind on anything. So but that's the problem, it's going to end up come back and haunt you back. So let me just run and show you what I mean. If you run it again, it's going to, the backslash is going to increase and keep increasing, and then giving us a very messy text here. So let's just delete that. I'm just going to delete this hello world text. Then I'm just going to leave this one here. Cool. So now we want to take care of that. First of all, it was giving us a kind of backslash which we don't really need, and it was also giving us this array, this square brackets again, and we don't really need that. So let's go and fix that. So we're just going to come up here, and here we're just going to replace that backslash with an empty string. So that's really easy. Just replace. Here we're going to pass in our backslash. And those of you that have used Python before, you will know that you can't write like a backslash like that. So yeah, you need to write it like this. Cool. Then we're just going to put a comma, and then we're going to replace this backslash with an empty string. Cool. And then after it replaces that, then we're just going to split. We're just going to remove the square bracket. So yeah, we're going to use this function called split, and then we'll split this, and here we're just going to pass in our square brackets. Cool. Save the program. Let's run it again. Hopefully it's not giving us the back. Okay, yeah, it's working for us, but then it's still giving us these square brackets which we don't need. So yeah, so just delete this text again because we don't really need it for now. Then let's go and fix that. Instead of writing split, let's just strip it out. So strip, we want to strip the square brackets away from our text. So yeah, and if you run it, as you can see, it's not giving us this square brackets. I'm okay with these squiggly brackets over here because it's a dictionary, so we want it to save as a dictionary. So cool. Save password function is working properly. I'm just going to clear the console over here. Then now we want to actually create a function that will manage also, or know how to trigger or sequence call these functions in a sequential pattern. Hopefully you understand what I mean. Again, the password manager project is going to be on a link down in the description, so you can go and check that out. So I'm just going to make a function called password manager. Cool. Yeah, we don't need to pass it any text. You can remove this function here because we're not going to use it to this. So yeah, so now we're just going to pass in some few text, and that's going to be like, let me just remove this. Here we're just going to be like, we're going to print welcome to password manager. Then we're going to tell what kind of commands you can give to the password manager, which will trigger which can either generate password or save password, or just create or just see what we already saved there. Cool. So here we're just going to give, say, to generate a password, type in, then we're just going to put the function in brackets, type in gen, or you can type open to see your saved passwords. So just to make the text a little bit clean, I'm just going to put break the text over here. So slash n. So and then what's going to happen here, sorry, slash n, and then to exit, because we might want to exit um from the program. So to exit, type exits. Cool. Or here we're just going to put like this slash and say you can also type in quits, just for good measures. Okay, cool. This is a little bit long. Now it's okay, just leave it like that. Okay, so cool. So here we're just going to put an input. First, I'm going to call this, make a variable, call it user, and then we're going to get the user or whatever the user inputs inside here. So user, then I'm just going to put an input, and then here I'm just going to put a bracket. Sorry, put this in a text. Sorry, in a string. Then I'm just going to put in this, and yeah. So it will tell this is what I'm just doing here, is telling the user where he's supposed to actually put the command to generate a password or save a password or open a password. So yeah, cool. Then after that, we're just going to make an if statement. So if the user inputs, no need to put user inputs, and the name of our variable is called user. So if the user equals to equals rather to gen, then what's going to happen is that we're going to print, sorry, we're not going to print, we're just going to call the function gen password. Then after that, we're going to ask the user if he wants to save the password or not. So yeah, then print, or let's make a variable, or rather just let's print it out. I think that's better. So print, would you like to save the password? Then here I'm just going to come in here and just going to put in, make a new variable and call it answer. Answer is going to be equals to and whatever the user inputs. So that's inputs. Here I'm just going to make a text bracket, and inside this bracket I'm going to write y/n, which is bringing back, which is kind of like using all those what was it called, all those RPG questions. Yeah. So input y, or like standing for yes, or no, n standing for no. Cool. So now here we're just going to come down here and we're going to enter another if statement, and that's going to be if the answer equals to yes, or y rather, then what's going to do, we're just going to call the save password function. First of all, before we call the save password function, we want to ask it a few questions, like what's the name of the password, and you should copy the password above and save it down. So yeah, so I'm just going to say, I'll make another variable. I'm going to call this one name. So name is going to be equals to put this on input to what's the name that the user inputs, and here we're just going to put in input name of password. Then once done with that, I'm going to make another variable and call it password. So so password is going to be equals to the copy the above password. So here we're just going to say copy the above password and paste below. and paste. I won't say paste below. I'm just going to say paste here. Cool. Then once we're done with that, then we're just going to pass that into our function, which our function takes two parameters, which is name and password. So yeah, just pass that name, password. We need to put that equals to, because it already knows what's that. So yeah, so now that's if it's y, else, or else if, elif. That's what I love about Python. So else if answer equals to no or n, then we're just going to print okay. Cool. Don't forget to put this in a string. So yeah, cool. So now that's all for the gen password. Now is to like open saved password now. So if users is equals to gen, so now just come out of this particular if statement, and then I'm going to come here and write elif if the user equals to open. Sorry. The user equals to open. I'm going to tab this right here. I don't know why I did that. So now if the user is equals to open, then what's going to happen is this: we're just going to read what is already saved in the file. It's not going to delete anything because we're just reading what is there. So we're just going to read what is saved inside our password.json file and give us what's there. So parts, here we're going to pass in our passwords.json, and then we're just going to read the text. Cool. So actually we're going to save this in a array. I'm sorry, not in an array. We're going to save it in a variable. I'm just going to call this saves, and save is going to be equals to that. And we're just going to print out the saves. Cool. So now this is if the user types in open to open the saves. Then else or elif user equals to exit or quit. Let's put this here, or quit. What's going to happen is that we're just going to pass in our, sorry, make this double. I've forgotten like the logical symbols for this, but let's just leave that there. Hopefully that's what it is. So if the user either imputes exit or quit, then what's going to happen is that it's going to just just pass it, and then we're going to put this whole password manager this thing into a while loop. So tab everything here, or rather let's create the while loop first. So while true, and everything here we're just going to tab it. So just press tab. Cool. So now if the user input equals exit or quit, then what's going to happen is that we're just going to break out of the while loop. Cool. So else, if the user doesn't input anything, else that's the user doesn't input anything, what we're just going to pass in is pass. Cool. So yeah, hopefully our program is working. Let's test it out. So let's call our password manager function. But first of all, I want to create like a little if statement here. just for I'll explain it once I'm done. So if main equals to slash name, then what's going to happen is that it's it's just going to run our password function, password manager function. Cool. So hopefully, okay, sorry, it's saying that the function is not correct for some reason. So I'm just going to remove this out. Sorry, it's supposed to be the other way around. This is supposed to be in string. This is supposed to be on its own. So now, what basically this if statement is saying is that if it's run under this particular name, if under the name of your Python file, then it should run the program. Else, I don't know what to say, but yeah, that's what it does. So cool. Let's run it and let's see what happens. So to generate a password, type in, we made a little typo here, so let's just fix that. Quit first. We have this thing. Okay, yeah, turns out this thing doesn't really have we're not actually supposed to do that. So I'm just going to remove it. It's in all. Cool. So we're just going to come in here and just fix this. Then save, run your program again. Okay, so to generate a password, type in gen, or you can type open to see your saved password. So exit, type exit or quit. So let me just try this to see if it's working. Okay, yeah, that's working. Let's run it again. I want to also see if the quit too is working. Okay, that too is also working. Cool. So now let's see if our gen password function is working. Actually, I want to clear the screen so that it needs to be clean. So just don't need to do this. I just want this screen to be a little bit clean. The console to be a little bit clean. So cool. Now let's run our function. Okay, to generate a password, type in gen, or you can open or blah blah blah. So let's generate a password. So gen, as you can see, generates a password for us filled with symbols, letters, and this particular one doesn't really have numbers, but yeah, it kind of looks like a password. So yeah, cool. Then would you like to save the password? I'm just going to put it here. Why? Repeat name of password. Let's call it first password. Then copy the above password and paste it. So I don't really think that we can copy something inside the terminal, so I'm just going to try to copy it over here and then paste it into our file, paste it over here so that we don't really cause any problem. Then I'm just going to copy. Okay, I don't think we can also do that soon. Well, let's see. Okay, yeah, we can't do that. So just delete this. So I'm just going to copy it with hand. So this is that's Q, this, then bracket E, hash, U, then this, Q, F, E, E, U, G. So yeah, then if we save, okay, then it's going to run again since we're in a while loop. So but let's check if we actually save this password inside our password.json file, and if we check, it's actually saved it here. So name, first password, then now give us our password that we generated. So cool. And as you can also see here, it's checked the password.json file. There's already something saved there, and it saw that yes, there's something saved there, so it read what is there and then puts it back again. So yeah, our save password and gen password function is working very well. Let's see if I'll open if we can open or see what is already saved there. So open. Okay, so yeah, it's giving that to us. So name, expose password, giving us all of that. So yeah, our password manager is working properly. Cool. So guys, we have reached the end of the video. Please, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to comment down below, and if you want more of this content, don't forget to share to everybody who also love this content. So, and then if you have any questions, hit me down in the comment section below. Don't forget to also check out my gaming channel, and don't forget the project is going to be in the link down in the description. You can get on GitHub, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.